What's going on, everybody? Brian Lambert here. As you can see, I'm doing a little bit of double duty right now. And also did a different intro because it's my show and it's not Brett's today. I get to do what I want. Um, we have a couple quick announcements, but I really want to get into it because I have some special guests here. Some of them can't stay long, so I really just want to pop in and do what we got to do. Nightfall 1 through 5 is live on Kickstarter right now, guys. It will be scrolling across the bottom for the entirety of this show because I get to do that because, again, I can do what I want. Brett can't stop me. So I thank you all for being here. I thank you guys for always checking out the Indie Comics Dispatch. I don't think we have any other announcements coming up, but obviously we're going to transition. Next week should be hip hop in comics, and then the week after that we will transition into Women's Month, and we'll have a plethora of really great guests. Brett will be back, so you'll have to deal with both of us at that time. Thank you guys in advance for all of that, and without further ado, I'm actually going to bring out all of the guests at once. First, we have Malachi Bailey, the little brother I can't get rid of, and I'm the big brother he never wanted. A part of Wingless Comics, obviously. Thank you, Malachi, for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Brian.
We also have Jason Reeves, the man, the myth, the legend, 133 Art Publishing, doing very great things. 2022 Glyph Award winner for Best Comic of the Year, doing big things out here. Thank you, Jason.
Hey, what's happening?
Rodney Anderson, the man who, if I meet him on the street and he hasn't given me some art color, we will have to fight. No, Rodney is a great guy. He's a great teacher, great mentor, also a great hip hop dancer. So you guys need to stay informed. He's a great guy, and I'm just so happy to have him here as well.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? It's good to be here on Indie Comics Dispatch. Appreciate you for having me on, for sure.
No worries. And last but not least, we have Keithan Jones, the man behind Black Comics Day. Obviously, a great mentor to me and someone who's inspired me to continue doing what I'm doing. Owner, obviously, of Kid Comics, Power Nights 1 through. I'm still waiting for number 4. Stop playing with me, man. Keithan Jones.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you guys. Like I said, thank you guys for all being here. Thank you guys for all participating, even though it's not my event, in Black Comics Day. You guys enriched it for me. Like I said, I wanted to pop in and do a quick show, 30, 45 minutes, just talk about our experiences and talk about what we were doing and how it was for us. I'm going to start with Jason because I know he has another interview with the Blurred Girl coming up. I'm going to also try and catch that when I'm at work. Jason obviously is the man, and so hats off to you, sir.
Hey, I mean, Black Comics Day is like one of the best events, one of the blackest events I've ever been privy to and had the blessing to be a part of. So no, man, shouts to you, Keithan, man. Listen, we had a great time, especially during the panel and just during the course of the show, being able to talk to like young people, man, and professionals and just people who just did not know that we existed. Even still, it is strange to hear it because, you know, we've all been doing this for years and years and years now. And just being able to bring that awareness is dope, man. Like that is what's building up our community. So I had a great time, made a little money. You know, some good connects. I mean, Brian and I, we met a dude that like made his own shoes, man. I was like, the brother made his own, like,
you talking about the sneakers, right?
Yeah. It was like some futuristic light up sneakers. I was like, yo,
that's dope.
I was like, he said he only needed real backing behind it. He already has actual proof of concepts on his feet and in the box.
Right. He's like, man, I have manufacturers in China. I lived there for a while. I was like, yo, put brothers up on game. Like,
yeah.
Can I get what you man?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I buy a pair of light up high tops with some fresh stuff on it.
That's an interesting point, Jason, because that Black Comics Day, sure, it's primarily about comic books and Black creators, but imagine, so to speak, if it got as big as Comic-Con and how all the, how Comic-Con is morphed into this Hollywood thing. But imagine if Black Comics Day morphed into a venue where he can get recognized for those shoes.
Right.
You know, it's still a creative. He's still a
Right.
creative,
Mhm.
and
Well,
you know,
it's-
he could be discovered there if people, like you said, were more aware of the show.
Right. It's
People
like
eventually-
it's I that's a great point. I think, man, could you imagine if we became like a hub for just black creatives in
Mhm.
general? Like technology, like Afrotech, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like this man with the shoes, us with the media and the entertainment, like,
Mm-hmm.
and every black creative and professional can come there and connect with each other. That's a beautiful thing, man. Like, and you know, again, man, you got to create it so they will come. Like Kareem was saying in our panel, and you created it, dude. Like, shouts, it's live.
Seriously,
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I definitely.
And yeah,
One more,
and
I'm
I'm
sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Looking sharp, by the way, there, Brian.
I know, right?
He has to know.
Tell my boss,
Yeah.
man.
Grip on there.
Looking like the $1 Million Man. Where's
You
Bird?
know what I'm saying?
I was I was a little apprehensive about the show being successful as far as people showing up because of the break, because of COVID. We missed a year, so it's like, man, are people still going to be enthusiastic? Are they going to remember? Because I felt like, man, this is the reboot. I gotta start from scratch as far as, you know, getting the ball rolling again, and to do that process. People were like just as enthusiastic before that year.
Yeah.
That year we picked up. I was like, wow.
They were hungry for it.
Remember that?
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like we ended up reconnecting with people that weren't even there like before. You know, like
Me.
it was exactly. See, Machiavelli Bailey over here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But nah,
Sorry, I missed you, Mac.
it was a dope set. It was a dope set. And I gotta dip out in like a minute or two. But
Oh man.
yeah, man, I am forever grateful, man. Like I'm always down to show up because it's just the feeling of it, man. Like there's a few shows that feel like Black Comics Day,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to expand. I can't.
You know, that's
wait.
something. That's what I like when you say that. That's the information I'm not aware of. Like, I know my own show and the feedback for it, but I don't know how it compares to the other shows at all, unless somebody tells me.
The
You know,
vibe.
Yeah.
The vibe is just as potent
Mhm.
as the Schaumburg.
Really?
And yeah, and I think because, you know, with the inclusion of World Beat, it's more full, you know. Like I could see, man, eventually like food trucks and stuff and all kinds of stuff
That's
going
a good
on.
idea.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and there's that
Mhm.
big area. I don't know what kind of access World Beat has to that area next to it, but man, like
You mean
imagine what
outside?
else. Yeah, outside.
It
Like
becomes-
All that
that
surrounding the
field?
grass is all. That's all World Beat.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
This
Because they
is
do like
so-
they do events like Earth Day there and have thousands
Ah.
of people out there.
Yeah. So, you know, again, like I gotta dip out, but man, listen, it's good. It's happening. We doing it.
That's
You
what's
know what
up.
I'm saying? So kudos. But yeah, fellas, let me jump, and I love y'all, man. Like,
All right, Jason. Thanks for
All right,
coming.
Jason.
I
It's
appreciate
great
it.
to see you,
Be
Pat.
easy, man.
Bro.
peace.
I really want to say real quick too before I turn it back over to you guys. I just did LA Comic Con, you know, 2-3 months ago or whatever, and LA Comic Con puts up its stats. Oh, we're supposed to, you know, 100,000 people are supposed to come through the con. Blah 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 blah. Don't get me wrong, it was huge. There were tons of people. Cosplay was live, you know, on and on and on. But the crowd and the intimacy and, like Jason said, the feeling of the crowd of Black Comics Day far surpasses anything that I did at LA Comic Con.
Wow.
Just again, people wanting your content, you know what I mean, and wanting what we produce. One always goes a long way, as opposed to being one of 300 vendors trying to vie for a spot. Black Comic definitely makes that piece of it. I was certainly, like, on the financial level, I was more prosperous in 2 days at Black Comics Day than I was in 3 days at LA Comic Con. You know,
Wow.
But
Someone told me that I don't know if that was you, but someone else told me that they made more money Saturday than they made it in 2 days. And I forgot which one it was, but they said they went to a 2-day event and they made more money at Black Comix Day in 1 day. You know?
Yeah, Black Comix Day has a much more intimate feel, much more person to person. Look a person in the eye. You know, you're not just a product. There's people behind the fantastic artwork. So and people love the story. They love the story behind the artwork, the inspiration. I got all types of questions like that. I'm sure you all did as well. Like, you know, what inspired you to do this? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked me that question. I don't get it often. You know what I'm saying? So it's fantastic that the convention you put on, Keith, fosters that question.
I think it's the quality of the clientele that comes in, the people, the fans that come in. They literally, I mean, they came in to buy something, to support. Support, the key word is support. They came in to truly support the effort, and I love that it's, you know, maybe who's not paying attention or just going off of stereotypes thinks it's just going to be a black crowd and a black thing. And you look at the pictures, all you guys are posting up, man. Every culture under the rainbow was there.
Yeah.
That's very true.
You know,
and it was great to see that much excellence in a room. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like from the newbies to the OGs to everybody, right? Like, there's a quality and a pride and a love, and I think that all that gets wrapped up in the con itself as well. You know, I remember 2 years ago, my first con, and Greg and Keith and Rodney coming to help me set up my booth, right? Like, I had the display one way and everybody had like a tip, like, do this thing because it draws the eye in here. Oh, hey, why don't you switch this up? Oh, hey, man, you know what? Don't sit there. I'm going to move you over to this table. You know what I mean? And so that camaraderie and that kind of like communal love, man, I think that plays into it a lot too.
I agree.
Regardless,
yeah, absolutely. We share tips and stuff. Yeah.
Arranged? Were you talking about the way people help each other arrange the tables, or what were you?
No. So my first year, man, 2 years ago, before COVID, like, I had my book set up a certain way and it was kind of whack, but I didn't know it at the time. Like, no one could see stuff. And then even you, like, I was at a table and you were like, hey, man, you know what? Let me move you over to get you a little bit more visibility. Like, this table's open. Come over here. And that continues. Like, so 2 years ago, that happened for me when that was my first con. And I saw and I did the same for other people. This is their first con. You know what I mean? Just little tips and tricks and things. Again, you know, I didn't see that at LA Comic Con. Nobody was helping each other there, like, unless we legit knew each other.
Right.
You'll pay it
Everybody's. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I would say you got to pay it forward in that respect. You know, we're all here for the same purpose, but, you know, we are all still united. You know, we have to make sure that we're seen. So that's all I was about to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, excuse me. The other problem at the larger cons is that a lot of the artists are stressed because they're trying to make it's such a, you know, artists traditionally don't have a lot of disposable income. So the buy-in, the return on investment at the larger cons it's a stress ball to them because they're thinking about getting their table back before they can even start to profit. So my whole point of Black Comix, one of the things I wanted to keep with Black Comix is a low buy-in cost. Like, those tables basically worked out to be $60 per day. And I figured, you know, I knew that you guys were going to get that money back before lunch.
Yeah.
You know, someone who hasn't been to the show probably wouldn't know that, but I still, that was the thing I wish from my con experiences was like, it's one of the things that keeps me away from certain cons.
Absolutely.
It's like you're asking too much.
Yeah, well, that speaks to you as the person, putting on the con, what your goals are for it. We all want and need to make money, right? We live in a society that revolves around, paying bills. But is that the only point to it? I hope not for most people, and
no, but if they don't get the money, they can't make the product.
Exactly. So that's another thing is that if you're not living comfortably, it's really hard to produce art. You know what I mean? So, but in order to produce art, there's a certain amount of money to put, put towards getting to cons. The travel, tickets. It's a whole thing on the business side of it before you even put the pencil to the paper. And so it's like the fact that people are willing to support, and you put on a con that's accessible for anywhere from beginners to old pros, helps with that. It helps to make it sustainable.
This is the startup kit, because I tell artists all the time, don't jump into San Diego Comic-Con if you virtually have nothing, no following. You see a bunch of people out there. You see the photos and the videos of San Diego Comic-Con, and it's packed, jam full of people, and you think you're going to go there making a killing, but you forget you're competing against Disney and Marvel and Warner Brothers, and they got these giant displays, and they got movie stars. You'd be lucky if anybody pays attention to you there. Not saying that you won't make any money. You'll probably, because percentage-wise, you'll make some money, but your table costs, good luck.
Right.
Unless you lucked out in Artist Alley, and even then, Artist Alley is like a sardine can. It's
I mean, it's gross. Yeah, you'll make a lot, but profit, like your ticket to get here, the table, which is astronomical these days at Comic-Con. Food, hotel. When you start adding up those costs, man, print costs.
And I was blessed. I was blessed when I was doing my San Diego Comic-Con tabling, because I just so happened to have a friend who worked for Pixar. And he had the money to buy a $4,000 table right across from DC, right? And what he did was, it was a corner table, so it was enough space for him to split it between two more vendors. He didn't need all of that space. He had, because he was grandfathered in. He was there way back in the early 2000s, right? It was a little cheaper. It was still kind of up there, but it's way cheaper. And then, they keep increasing the price on the inflation. You know how that goes, right? And so it got all the way up to close to $4,000, or maybe a little more. So people would team up with him, bail out on him, come back, blah, 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 blah. And then finally, he had an opportunity for me to come in, because he said he always wanted me, since we grew up together. He said, man, I always wanted you to be my booth mate. But back then, I didn't have anything to sell, because I wasn't trying to do that. But in recent years, that's what happened with me. Like, I lucked out. I was able to just pay for my portion. I think I still was paying up to $800.
That's still a lot.
Being my friend, he allowed me to put a deposit in, and then I get him on the back end after I make some money there.
That's what's up. That's paying it forward right there, man.
But how many people have that opportunity?
Not many.
You know what I mean? So basically what I'm saying is, Black Comix Day is designed for not only the seasoned artists, but also the startup that needs a break. They need to get in there. As long as I make enough money to cover my costs, I don't need to be greedy about it.
And then you get the added benefit of, I hate saying it like this, but like true fans, right? Because you get people I got people again from last Comic Day who remember it and was like, oh, hey, you were here last time. One dude was like, you look a little,
that was funny.
Bro, I lost like 30 pounds, man. He's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? You continue to follow your journey, right? Whereas, again, even if you sell at bigger cons sometimes, because you're in Artist Alley or because somebody drops some money, the following is different. Like, you have dedicated fans that you're going to get to connect to at Black Comix Day. You have a conversation with them, which I think a Sunday for me, and actually for Malachi as well, it was like a lot of in-depth conversations with people. And those are people that continue to follow you regardless of the flash or whatever else, which is something that you don't get at bigger cons, quote unquote bigger cons. Or rarely.
Personal relationships.
There's always a sense of you got to keep it moving at a bigger con. There's no time to
force the relationships.
to even
Not
just stand
anymore.
around. Like it's always like, okay, what's the next? Go. So
It wasn't always like
Yeah.
that. When I went to my first San Diego Comic Con, it was $10 to get in. It was at the old convention center.
What is it
And
now to get in? I'm afraid to
does it
ask.
work like 100 something a day, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
If you get
it's
through.
400 or 500 for the total.
Yeah.
If you can get one. So,
Yeah.
If you can even get one,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's become exclusive now.
I heard it's a queue now that you have to get on if you do it
Mhm.
online. Yeah, I'm not going to do all that.
Well, what
Yeah.
you don't go the regular route. You guys would go the pro route, and all you got to do is show proof that you're a professional by showing something that's been printed with your name on it, and
Okay.
or somehow prove to them through their criteria that you're a professional artist. It's still kind of a lottery these days, but if you get in as a pro, you'll never have to, and you keep renewing your registration. You should never have to pay again.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like every 3 years you have to re-up your credentials.
Right.
But none of us, I don't think, will be stopping comics anytime soon.
Right, but that doesn't cover anything.
Yeah.
That doesn't cover tables now. That's
No,
just for your badge.
It's just getting the badge.
It's just getting in the door. Yeah.
So I'm still like flabbergasted that the tables are $4,000, and I'm thinking that's actually a trip to on vacation to like another country.
That table, mind you, that table is in a prime location.
Okay.
That was almost in the center of the that's where it was. Where I'll tell you where that table was. That table was literally where the Justice League walks past, like all the actors in the Justice League. That's the route they take when they're going through to their
make you pay
stage
for that.
and make their announcements. So when I tell you a mass of people going past our table, it was crazy. I mean, I even remember Will Smith coming by my table and I gave him a dap, with Gal Gadot or whatever. Yeah. So there's some action there. So, those tables are going to be a lot more. But if you go to, I think, Artist Alley, you won't pay more than $300.
Okay.
$400.
Okay.
I feel like Artist Alley last time I was there though, and I wasn't even there as a vendor, but like Artist Alley at San Diego Comic Con, even though it's nice and people do go down it, it's still like it reminded me of like the bazaar scene in Aladdin where dudes are just yelling stuff like
well
to be noticed.
Well, Artist Alley, that was San Diego Comic Con. Like back in the day, that was San Diego Comic Con, and it had the big dogs there. Like I had conversations with Frank, like what Rodney was saying. I could sit there and talk to Frank Miller and George Perez and some editor I needed to develop a relationship with to get a job or whatever. But like he was saying, now they're like, keep it moving, pushing you around and all this other stuff. And it's almost impossible to have any type of combo with somebody on the main floor.
Yeah, that's why Black Comix Day is like the counterpoint to that. That's why it feels like because I was never there during those during the old times, the early days of San Diego Comic Con. But what I hear is that it was much more personal, much more intimate, like Black Comix Day.
Now there is a show, and I know this man, the man that one of the original founders of San Diego Comic Con, Mike. Oh my God, first name Mike. I'll remember his last name later, but he is one of the original founders of the San Diego Comic Con, and he recognized the problem that artists are having with the way it's mutated into this Hollywood thing. So for the last, 5 years or something, he's created another show called Comic Fest that also takes place here in San Diego. And I think it's in I don't know if it's next month or the month after next.
I think they're doing it in April this year. April. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Comic Fest is a return to what Rodney was alluding to, where it's more intimate. And I've done it a few times now, and it's true. It is a lot more intimate. You have a lot more time to sit there and converse with someone about whatever, and that's what it's designed to do. So he was behind that as well, but he's retired now. He just recently retired last year and passed it on to a younger group of people to run it. Gotcha. But yeah, they're aware of the situation. But they're not gonna break. They're not gonna give up the way San Diego Comic Con is now anytime soon, because the city depends on the revenue.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, I'm sorry. Like I said, I know this is a really, really quick one. Usually we go an hour, but as you can see by my attire, I have some other things I need to get to. So I want to get some last thoughts from everybody. So I'll start with Malachi. Best, favorite, last thoughts on Black Comix Day 2022.
Okay, so recently I started doing the whole red beanie thing because I was watching, I was reading something on what is it called, Head Nerds in Charge, and they had this article about what's his name? Kanye had on the red beanie, then you had Yaya with the red beanie, and I'm like, well, I want to be like a celebrity like them too, so I want to wear a red beanie, and I started doing like something on my Facebook, and then I had a few people actually start buying the red beanie. So now like I wear it almost all the time. So when we were at the event, this lady came over to me. I did our pitch for Nightfall and Justice, and she told me that as soon as she walked in, someone told her to go to the table with the man with the red beanie. So I'm like, okay, well, if that's going to get us some money, that's fine. But what I liked about the event is that it was really about fostering, relationships, amongst, our brethren. I love that there wasn't a distinction between networking or socializing, because it's pretty much the same thing, at least in my eyes. And I like the fact that, I have a history, you know, in customer service, call centers, what have you. So I had my share of, customers who were annoying, who were just abrasive or whatever. So that's always going to be in any type of field that you're in. But I can honestly say that, for Black Comics Day, there was not one nasty customer. Everybody wanted to be there. They wanted to talk your ear off, and they wanted what I like. They wanted to get some insight, so how can I get to where you are now? How can I get behind the table? I want to be successful like you. So for me personally, that's very humbling. When you had the kids, coming to you, they were asking, what is my thought process? Being an editor and an author, what have you. So I'm definitely gonna, come back. This was my first time being here. It was my first time on the West Coast in almost 20 years. So
Wow.
I was glad to be a part of that. And most importantly, I was glad to harass Brian.
I ignored him the entire
He
time.
He tried, but it didn't work.
Ronnie, your thoughts overall, sir?
So for me, I guess number one, I'll speak on the fans. The fans were fantastic. Attendees were they were there to support, financially, right, and to ask about the process and how things were done. By the end of it, I was hoarse. I was definitely like, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose my voice. But that's a good thing. People are wanting to know the process, know what goes into creating this artwork. And so many people picked up a copy of my comic book, Trinity Blade. It was
heartwarming. On the news, bro.
I asked. So here's a shout out to you, sir. Again, your efforts in the advertising of this. People were coming off the street. Many people saw the interview we did, which was awesome. And thanks for inviting me too. My mom was like, "Oh, my baby was on TV." So when I can score points with mom, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, So appreciate you on that. People were seeing it in, current event, Black focused newsletters online too. I was like, man, yeah, you really got out. So big ups to you for that, because it was busy.
I love what you had to say in the video. I love that what you had to say in there. You were talking about your project and how. I mean, I just like your project. Like your whole point is you don't see Black folks in fantasy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, again, people were asking me the inspiration for it, and which I always appreciate. I mean, we all like to talk about, our artwork, but this is very, very important to me in that aspect because I love fantasy. I got Lionel on the shirt here, and He-Man on the shirt, and She-Ra. Oh, yeah, she's there too. So, I come from that era of fantasy, sword sorcery type stuff, and I just want. I love these characters, but I want more characters that look like us now. And so when I started this, that's what it was about, was making the story that I wanted to see. And the fact that so many people, and not just black folk, so many people of all creeds and, all races picked up my book and were open to it. Again, that shows the quality of the attendee that comes through Black Comix Day. And yeah, aside from that, I have to remember to make sure I get Brian some line work, because I cannot appear at another con without giving this brother some line work, or he will throw over my table. So he's gonna just
You can
turn it over.
I was so busy. I still owe him a commission from 2 days ago. And trust me, Brian, I was really trying to get to it.
Nah, you know what?
So I took advantage of your friendship and said, well, I know I can find Brian.
You know what? I honestly, I feel like the numbers, I don't want to say not necessarily like reported, but the crowd numbers, right, are one thing, but the crowd interaction is another. And how saturated that crowd stayed. And again, how many people were at the tables and talking and asking questions, man. Look, if that means I got to wait for a commission for a couple of days, I'm more than happy to do that, right? Because we never know how we're going to affect the next generation and the next group of people. And like you said, we can find each other. We know each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm all about it.
Right.
I'm all about it. Keith, you got any last thoughts for us?
For Black Comix Day? I'm still kind of in the glow of it. I'm just kind of like really, I don't want to say shocked, but still, I'm just so happy that it broke right. It went the right way, considering that the last time the show went off, it was pre-COVID. Yeah. So I didn't really know, how people were feeling. They might have felt some kind of way about coming to an event where a bunch of people are, and thank God that the recent wave has subsided, and it was subsiding before the show. So I was like, I think we might be good by the time the show gets here. And the weather didn't hit us bad, because the last show, it was pouring day one. And I was like, oh, I thought that was going to ruin it, and people still showed up.
Yeah.
So that's a testament to the draw of the show. And it is a lot of work for me, and behind the scenes, there's days where I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna do this again, because
honest,
it's a lot of work, and I have to put a lot of my own personal projects on hold.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wrestling with that still. So I'm looking around to see if I can find some legitimate help doing the behind the scenes stuff, so I don't have to be stressed out so much by the time the show rolls around. Because the whole time, I'm like, oh, this is great, but inside some of those days are like, man, they just don't know. I ain't doing this again. I'm not doing it again. But I think I tend to recover. By the time I usually announce to the artist that I'm doing registration usually around October.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, maybe I figure by the time October rolls around again, I'll be refreshed and ready to do it again. But I don't think I think that was the fourth one. So hopefully, it's embedded now to the point where I don't have to do so much evangelism as far as getting the word out.
Mm-hmm.
Because this year was the first. I've never had so much media coverage up to this point.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, so to me that says it's been trending in the right direction, and hopefully it's carved its niche and people understand what type of show it is. It is an inclusive show. It is a cultural show in the sense that I want people to come there to experience something new. Not this is a Black only show. It's not that.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with being apprehend. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm not trying to build walls here.
Mhm.
This is more like some days you want Mexican food, some days you want Chinese food, some days you want
Right.
Italian. You know, it's the same thing. You know, I think Black folks, for some reason, and I know you run out of time here, but for some reason, it's always controversy when we're trying to do something for ourselves.
Mhm.
Yes.
They say do something for yourself, then we do something for ourselves, and then there's a stigma attached to it. And I'm like, where's the stigma for St. Patrick's Day?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where's the stigma
Yeah.
for Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah.
You know, like, why can't you just accept that this is a cultural thing for us, and you're welcome to the barbecue as long as you don't act up.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Let him go.
Good analogy.
That's all it is. It ain't. There's nothing deeper to it other than culture. It's a positive show. It's a culture building show, I think, and you guys make it work. I can't. It won't. Doesn't work with artists like yourselves, and you guys took a chance on me. You know, and I appreciate it. You know, even what's his name from the X-Men popped up on us.
I know. Larry
Larry
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the other con.
Yeah.
And I guess he didn't know this one was going on or something, but he told me, like, when he got word, he tried to get out of there. But what stopped him was a wave of folks came in through the door, and so he wasn't able to get to us till the last hour. But he's like, man, he's going to try to be there next year.
Awesome.
That's what's up.
Awesome. Thank you again. Well, one, thank you for all my guests. I want to say that. Jason, who's no longer here, he had to be on another podcast. But I also want to say, honestly, again, Wingless Comics wouldn't be where we are without Black Comix Day. I can say that 100% because I was there selling a 0 issue, no backing, nobody else, you know what I mean? And was able to build up what I have now because of that, right? Like I was able to partner to bring Malachi on, you know what I mean? Like I was able to bring other people on because of the momentum. I started there completely solo doing my thing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I love Black Comix Day because it isn't exclusionary. And like you said, it is a cultural event where it's the highlight is one thing, but everyone is included in being able to partake of that. So again, thank you. If you are feeling like you are ready to hit your, the roof with it and you need behind the scenes help, please reach out. I feel like all of us that have been involved in it would continue to be involved and will continue to help in each little piece that we can. Mm-hmm. So I know it's something that I never want to see go anywhere. For me, it is more important at this point to me personally than your San Diego Comic-Con, which is obviously like one of the biggest shows, in the nation. But
the magic, not to cut you off, the magic of this show, it can coexist with San Diego Comic-Con because it's a focused event. You don't get this at any other con unless you go back east. But this is the West Coast. This is the West Coast zone. It's zoned for this coast. But imagine the Black Comics, they get to the point where Black Panther 3 or something the sneak peek can be premiered at Black Comix Day, and the actors from the movie come to Black Comix Day instead of San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes.
And speak about their movies. And any other, the Spike Lees of the world come there. So if anyone's out there watching this podcast and they can help in that respect, I'm all ears.
Make it happen. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Like I said, I'm sorry to cut it short, but I am on the run. So thank you guys very much. Thank you from ICD, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.